The Science of Self-Realization by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Chapter 4 is called Understanding Krishna and Christ. The first section is called Krishna or Christ. The name is the same. Well, the goal by the name certainly has a lot of similarities. Bhagavad Gita 14:26 Mam chayo vyabecharana bhakte yogena sevate sagunan samatityaetan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. And if you're one who is fully in devotional service, you're not falling down regardless. And you transcend the modes and live on the absolute level. Srimad Bhagavatam 1-11 Vadante tat tattva vedas tattvam yajnanam avayam brahmete paramadmete bhagavanite samdhyate. Those who are learned in the elements and the scripture know the total truth, and through their development they know this non-duality as absolute, as the great self, or the personality of divinity. And they have the ultimate realization of deity. Now, the Christian wants to refer us to these familial relationships, but it's really what is bringing that light, what's bringing that love, what's bringing what's actually best for life. On the ultimate sense, not just the one sent for such, but on the ultimate sense. And why are we saying don't do this, and then we're doing a type of this, right? One of the things that a lot of people try to say there's hypocrisy is that you have a preacher saying, oh, don't be gay, and then he cheats on his wife. It's like, well, see, that's the problem, is that you have somebody who's following in that category of sin. So if there's something that's supposed to be a sin, then you kind of, right? Or you say, oh, I'm vegetarian, but you eat things with meat products. It doesn't work that way. You're not vegetarian. And honestly, the culture that doesn't care about the rights of the animals, what do you think they're going to do to the humans if you consider humans not to be animals, right? Or consider them a higher animal? Bhagavad Gita 9:26 Patram pushpam phalam toyam yume bhaktya prayachate tad aham bhakte apartam asname prayatatmanah. And remember, this is quoting deity, or is it supposed to be, that if someone gives me even a leaf or a flower or fruit or water, I'll accept it with love and devotion. And so when people talk about Krishnatarian, they're not just following a principle, they're doing it with the experience as a devotee. And I think I might have pronounced Advayam as something different, that sixth word in our 1-11 mantra. And so we should be sure about our means, right? What do we mean by the words that we're using? What is meant by the words of Scripture that we are using? Bhagavad Gita 3:13. Yajna sishta senna santo muchyante sarva kilbishai bunjate tetav agam papa ye pachante atma karanat. And those who are sacrificing for the Lord, the ultimate Lord, not just Curie, spiritual master, but the ultimate Lord, they release themselves from the sins because they're taking part in what is first offered as sacrifice. And those who eat of any food just to enjoy it, they eat only sin. Well, typically we wouldn't go that far, right? But it is a mistake. It is a mistake, because if sin means mistake, from the ancient Egyptian sin, we would say that it is a mistake not to dedicate these things, not to be aware of the principles and practice the principles, right? The person called Chaitanya said, Nam namakare bahuda nija sarva sakte. The names are in the millions. And God is of these names. And they have the potency of divinity. Well, when we say that they have the potency of God, that God is the same as the names, it's like, well, no matter what name you use, I think Surah 7 is the one that mentions this. As long as you're using the best names, it doesn't matter per se what you're using. Of course, when you use the scripture, you're doing that. And the example is brought up when we're going over 108 beads 16 times or any other such thing, that this is, it matters what you're saying, but, And regardless of your level of intelligence, you can have an understanding of divinity. Christ, Christians, and Krishna is the next section. A true Christian and a true Vaishnava are both supposed to be ones with compassion for others. And those who react towards others in some sort of doubt. It's like, well, maybe they don't get it, or maybe their circumstance is different than I perceive it. That sort of thing. But we need to understand that some of these individuals, they had their time, they had their place. And we have our time and our place. So is there some difference in that, right? Thou shalt not kill. Somebody altered one of those Krishna consciousness, like some sort of bull man thing, chopping a person, and they call the group Cattle Mutilation is the name of the band, or maybe that's the name of the album. Somebody altered one of these pictures for their metal album. I thought that was something else, but some of the teachings related to thou shalt not kill through the International Society of Krishna Consciousness definitely relates to that picture, right? And the cow isn't God, although some people do think that particular cows are incarnations, but the cow is treated as something that benefits us. It's a bounty of God. It's a vehicle for our respect for God. So it's not the same thing, right? And having the right motivations does lead us to practicing the right teachings, to referring to the same things. There's all sorts of species, and these species work together. There's an importance between these species. And we should be concerned about the sort of sound. What we're witnessing, we can tell sometimes. We hear these animals being killed and stuff that maybe that's not the right thing. But the opposite, like every year, there will be people who phone up about the Muslims. We don't hear the squealing and stuff that we hear from the other slaughterhouses, so something illegal must be happening. It's like, just because they're not beating and electrocuting and drugging and dragging along with machines and stuff like this, doesn't mean that it's all of a sudden, it's horrible going on. But, people think that, But we don't want to put animals through more than, what they have to for whatever their circumstances are, right? There is a belief that people have that you'll turn into the various beasts of prey and domesticated animals that eat meat and all sorts of stuff if you die living a certain life. And, in some way, the hell can be kind of like that. So whether you believe in reincarnation or an afterlife with a hell that is, sort of a final results of your bad deeds or whatever, that's, that sort of stuff makes sense. Bhagavad Gita 14.4, Sarvayoneshu kaunteya. All living beings have a soul. So none of this, can I eat fish? Or do fish have feelings? Or, the sort of things that hippies come up with.